Flan tutorial, I just want to tell you a little bit about the data set that we have available for you. You can download that from the Google Drive for the workshop and try out Metaflan on your own if you don't have a data set of your own to work with yet. So the data that we have is gathered from a study of the microbiome of urban streams. What we were interested in was to look over the course of a year at the microbiomes of streams, both upstream and downstream of wastewater treatment plants, where the treated water is released into the directly into these streams that permeate the Charlotte area, and people may come into contact with the result of that treated water release. The interesting thing that we found in this study was we measured 10 different types of antibiotics using mass spectrometry in the same samples that we collected sequence from, and showed that there's an antibiotic gradient between the pre and post-treatment waters in the Charlotte metro area. So if we look at these upstream sites where there's very little contact with human activity, you aren't dealing with wastewater, you're dealing with the stream in its sort of natural state, and in our rural site, then you see a great difference in antibiotic concentrations relative to what you see in influent, what you see during the treatment process in the plant, and what you see released into downstream waters. And so, of course, we wonder what microbes survive and thrive in this environment. So this first study, and there's a couple of companion papers that came after it in 2020 that go more deeply into what is going on in the stream sediment, in the soil surrounding, in addition to the water. But in the water itself, the difference in alpha diversity that we see is most significant between our pristine, our upstream waters, our pre-treatment sewage, treated material, and then released material downstream of the plant. So you can see that the diversity becomes very high in these pre-treatment and during treatment samples, and then returns to a lower level as it's released. But we don't see that same kind of separation or difference across the seasons or between the two different treatment plants. So that isn't necessarily surprising, but that is how the study played out. When we look at beta diversity, we can see that in pink and purple, you have the samples that are from the treatment plant context, and in blue and green, you have your pristine samples. And so you can see that the samples that are directly taken from the wastewater treatment plant, from influent to post-treatment, cluster together, and the waterway samples cluster together, which again is not particularly surprising. And if we break them down, then you begin to be able to see that there is some difference in the way the aeration tank effluent clusters as opposed to post-treatment water. So we have the during treatment and then the post-treatment samples kind of separating out in this one. So that's the basic gist of what we saw. We looked at the fates of resistance genes, which are abundant inside wastewater treatment plants. But as we look at what's actually released into the environment, we do not see a whole lot of actual released detectable genetic material that looks like resistance genes. And if we break that down, we see things like beta-lactamases. We see things that are associated with protection of the organism, but we don't see them in the upstream water, certainly, and we don't see them nearly as much in the downstream waters as we do within the plant itself. So that's, the wastewater treatment plant is doing what you would like it to do. It is removing most of the detectable genetic material from the treated water before it's released into the environment. And you can see that in the samples that we have chosen for you that come from the upstream A sites, which are the most distant upstream sites, from the residential influent, the aeration tank effluent, which is after the first step of the treatment process, and then released water at a downstream site.